That's how stressful this weekend has been.
Let's get to Dr. Deborah Russell.
Deborah Russell.
Mr. Speaker, we have heard from the public on this bill. There was a consultation process at MB, a huge number of submissions received, and 0.33% supported this bill. We have heard already from the public on this bill. There is virtually no support for it. And despite that overwhelming rejection, that minister has had the gall to bring it to this House and to demand that this House spends their time on it, when a mere 0.33% of submissions supported it. What an exercise in vanity. Not only is it an exercise in vanity, ignoring what the public have already overwhelmingly said about this bill, the analysis says that it is simply not needed. Your drafts of the bill, of the Cabinet paper, will circulate to other government agencies. And let me read from the regulatory impact statement about what those other agencies said about the bill. And it says, the main themes from the departmental feedback included some support for the broad objectives of the proposal, but a general preference for those to be achieved in other ways, such as strengthening regulatory impact analysis requirements or parliamentary mechanisms. And they said that this bill would just duplicate existing mechanisms. It was not going to add anything to what we do in this House, in this government, around regulatory quality. Yet another sign that this is just a vanity exercise. So let's look then at the content of the bill. Why are people rejecting it? Well, I took what my colleagues have said around the Treaty of Waitangi and the extent to which Māori have simply been ignored in the drafting of this bill. It's astonishing. This bill wants to set up a system so that there can be a voice to Parliament, keeping a check on the regulations and on the reviews. We have that voice already. It's called the Waitangi Tribunal. That's what they do for us, and yet those people reject the Waitangi Tribunal, but they are a voice to Parliament, checking us and keeping us in check in terms of how we deal with our country. We have that coming through in our regulatory impact statements and the Legislative Design Council. We have these voices already. There's that kind of content in it. But then there's the underlying philosophy here. This is a bill which sees people only as individuals. Just as individuals. There seems to be no notion of society. And as individuals that we hold property and individuals that we interact with government. But let me give an example, Mr. Speaker. We have magnificent kahikatea trees on our property at home. They are wonderful trees. Kahikatea grow in swamps and they have great spreading roots that hold the tree in the ground. The great spreading roots in our kahikatea trees, which we treasure, they are beautiful on our property, but they hold the hillside together for our neighbours as well. If we took those kahikatea trees out, the impact would not be just on us, and not just obviously on our flora and fauna, on the whole ecology around our home, but it would be on our neighbours too. We are not mere individuals. We exist in a society. We have a complex web of relationships, and this bill ignores that complex web of relationships and treats us just as individuals. Think of the kahikatea tree and what it brings to us as a neighbourhood, as a community. That is the sort of analysis we need to have. One final point, Mr. Speaker. This bill talks about not unduly diminishing a person's liberty. But what kind of liberty? Freedom from or freedom to? It's really important. Liberty is enabled by the things we do for each other, like a health system, like an education system. It is enabled by a welfare system which enables people to live the free choices. And it is a bit rich of that government to talk about liberty when they have people in it who want to box people into narrow little definitions of male and female, of women and men, when they will not allow people to be themselves, when they want to get Māori out of our parliament, when they will not recognise the importance of Māori. This is a thin, attenuated version of society and we should utterly reject it.
Okay, while I was listening to that, I looked up Mountain Tui because Mountain Tui is fantastic at breaking things down. And thank fuck they have explained it very simply why this bill is not a good bill. Thank you, Mountain Tui. Please check out their work. It will save you from going insane. Okay, so 5 points. The Regulatory Standards Bill will establish a Regulatory Standards Board to keep the courts out of lawmaking. Yeah, I'll message you to. I'll give you the link, Sam.
Thank you.
Very good rundown. Okay, so I do try, guys, even though I'm losing my sanity. Okay, so it will establish a regulatory standards board to keep the courts out of lawmaking. That's bad. You want courts involved because, if people's rights can be violated. Okay. This law will allow for libertarian ideals to be entrenched. Okay. Again, not good. So examples include free market, pro-property, those demonstrated by this coalition government in practice, such as anti-environmentalism, anti-te pro-property rights. Well, we've seen there's no reference to te in the bill. And we've looked over the complaints in regards to there's very little mention to the environment. The minister can direct a board to investigate regulations that do not comply with the minister's defined criteria, aka you don't comply with Seymour's defined criteria. The regulation that's being talked about is not simply second-tier regulations. The bill would impose its discipline onto drafting statutes by ministers and MPs. So drafting bills to become law. So basically, yeah, David Seymour gets to control the way how law is written. Yeah, I just recommend that you read his piece.